So I just finished day 2 of Ray Behan's Think and Grow workshop on basically on healing yourself by resolving your traumas through meditation. And he did a guided meditation with us today, and yesterday he talked about all these different things about alpha brainwaves, the endocrine system, thoughts making chemicals, going to the cells, producing the emotions which make you feel sick or make you sick, inner world, outer world, reflection, mirror, and blah 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 blah. People with cancer and different diseases, the brain, the conscious and unconscious mind, and how unconscious thoughts can produce illness, ADHD, magnetic radiation. Then today we started with what he calls quantum affirmation collapse technique, or QAC, which targets the autonomic nervous system, and it's all about the vagus nerve. So there's this thing called the vagus nerve, which runs down your spine, and it's basically your nervous system. And if you're having stress or emotional issues or nerves, then the vagus nerve will be involved. And there's like 3 different levels or states of the autonomic nervous system with the vagus nerve. There's the top one, which is good, which I think was parasympathetic. Then there's the middle one, which is not good, which is sympathetic. And then there's the bad one, which is called dorsal vagal. And this is called polyvagal theory. Alright, so dorsal vagal, people can get stuck in this state, which is a bad state after some trauma. For example, I put an example here of Marilla after she got conned in the Anne for E TV show. But basically, after a traumatic experience happens and someone's not comforted and helped process that and release the trauma and get their nervous system back into a healthy level, then they can get stuck in that state. It also can happen with low self-esteem and worth, but it also produces that. But people in the dorsal vagal state of their autonomic nervous system are basically unhelpable from a rational argument perspective. So here's an example of someone in dorsal vagal. If they're going to therapy and the therapist is like, it's okay, you're in a safe place, the person who's in dorsal vagal can't comprehend how this could be a safe place. They feel like a bomb's dropping on their head. They feel like they're on the battlefield. It doesn't feel safe because it's their perception that nowhere is safe because they're in that state. So it's very difficult to help them. They may spend years in therapy and doesn't really have any effect. So you want to make sure you're not in these 2 bad nervous system states, and to do so, I'll get to that in a bit. There's also a morning mantra, I promise not to die with the magic still in me, which was one of the mantras the guy thought was good to wake up to every morning. And he talked about how bad thoughts are like poison in a river, and your body's the river, and the river's going to die and get all polluted. But if you stop putting bad thoughts into your body, then the river's eventually going to clean up and heal. So this is epigenetics. They were talking about epigenetics, how genes are expressed by the environment. Genes do not self-express. So if you've got like a cancer gene, it's not like you're not going to get cancer because of your genes. It's just the environment that you're in will activate those genes to cause the cancer. So you may have the potential for the cancer rather than the inevitability of it. So one example he gave was, what was the name of that Tomb Raider Lara Croft actress who had the breasts removed? Angelina Jolie, she had her breasts removed because her mother and grandmother had breast cancer. He reckons that was a mistake. So it's a misconception that genes self-express. Autoimmune diseases were covered, basically caused by the internal emotional environment. Alright, so we've gone over the dorsal vagal and the genes. Change perception on past event. So he did this thing where he would talk to different people one-on-one while we were all in the crowd and watching and listening silently, and he would just ask them question after question, understand who their parents were, who their siblings were, what their job is, what their partner is like, and understand all their traumas and their behaviors and their personality. And they got this woman who was angry at her parents, angry at her father, who had trauma from that, and because of her traumatic childhood and her anger at her father, she had a diverticulitis disease of the gut. And so she was angry at her father because he was drunk and abusive, and she had to be protective and strong and protect her mother and be like a human blanket to cushion her mother from the blows or what she thought was coming as physical violence to her mum. And it made her strong and independent and courageous and brave and helping other people and from that trauma. And she went into nursing and she took care of old people, and she reckons she helped 700 people in her life, in her job. And she helped them to, get through their elderly issues and take care of them and whatnot. So she's basically an angel to 700 people. And then the guy got her to go into a different state of mind, I guess alpha, and then say, hey, look, all of these attributes that are positive about you are a result of the trauma that you suffered or endured as a kid. So rather than being angry at your father for those traumas, shouldn't you be thankful for him for helping you to become the wonderful person that you are today? And so she was crying her eyes out, and she sort of recontextualized the trauma. So, here we go here. So past trauma changed the memory, changed the perspective. It was okay, or it was positive, or it made me who I am. And so you framed her whole personality and her traumas into actually a positive thing, and then she could heal from that, forgive her father, and heal her diverticulitis. So yeah, autoimmune diseases were caused by similar things, all sorts of sicknesses, trauma causing stress, making your immune system attack you for producing stress chemicals. Also, he mentioned that prostate cancer can be caused by the wife wearing the pants in the relationship because the man's not performing the duties of the man, and so his manly parts are expressing cancerous growth. So that was interesting. And then there was a meditation that was done where we had to close our eyes and imagine that we're in space, and then all the stars were to form the image of someone who has passed that we love, that we had trauma from, and then we were to re-encapsulate that trauma or re-envision it in a new way, or that person who deceased, we could imagine them saying like, I'm sorry, or I forgive you, or whatever, and then they'd reach out, touch our heart, pour love into us, and then we're all in a circle around one person, and we all reached our hands and poured love into that person, and it has these healing effects, miraculous healing effects. So it kind of mirrors Christianity in a few ways there. But yeah, it was really good.